Welcome to Hustle and Heart, finding success and fulfillment on your own terms. The podcast that's here to educate, inspire, and help you step into your power con mucho amor. As a first-gen Latina, I know what it's like to hustle hard, break generational cycles, and still wonder if I'm doing enough. I welcome you to this space, a place where we drop this BS, have raw conversations about mindset, success, and creating a life that's fulfilling to you. Think of this as your weekly cafecito chat with your long-distance, ambitious bestie where we talk about the real struggles, wins, and mindset shifts that actually make a difference. No fluff, no gimmicks, just honest conversations that help you take real steps towards the life that you want. So grab that cafecito, take a deep breath, and let's get into it. Welcome to Hustle and Heart, finding success on your own terms. Today's episode is extra special as we're joined by someone close to my heart, my dear friend, my personal and business accountant, Amorette Mason. Amorette is a powerhouse in the world of tax preparation, managerial accounting, and small business solutions. As the founder of Innovative Capital Management, she spent over a decade helping entrepreneurs navigate challenges and build sustainable success. Her expertise spans from small businesses and startups to niche industries like cannabis and real estate. And her dedication to making a difference extends into the nonprofit world where she's making incredible impact. Beyond her professional accomplishments, she serves on multiple boards, lending her talents to uplift communities and support her peers in the tax industry. And has the best job of all, mommy. Get ready for an inspiring conversation about entrepreneurship, trends that people are finding nowadays on how to handle their financial decisions and moves, empowerment, and how to thrive on your own terms. So let's dive right in. Welcome, Amorette.
Hi, how are you, Vanna? It's so good to see you.
I'm so excited that we're talking on this platform, in this space. I'm honored that you accepted my special invitation to do this with me. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So I know how amazing you are, but I would love to, give you the spotlight so everybody else and the community of listeners can also learn about you and how amazing you are and your journey is. So let's just dive right into it. Can you share what inspired your career in tax and accounting?
So strangely enough, it was from my previous career in film and video. So while living in Miami, I remember the days, I was working at a production company in Coral Gables, and that was my love, film and video. It was my thing. And I became very close with the owner. And one day she decided to take me under her wing and show me really what it's like to run a business, to have a business, and to be that. She was an amazing, powerful role model and wanted to just, teach me even more. And she had me start learning how to do the books at that company. And I don't know, it just ignited something in me, and I decided to go back to school, and I got my degree in accounting, and then I just took it from there.
And it evolved into this awesome empire because, sister, you have an empire.
Thank you. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but I appreciate that.
No, and that's just the pressures, right? That's the pressures of it. But we'll dive into that later. But I do want to ask you, because you've been in the game for so long, because you work with so many small businesses, you've had your business for 10 years, so you've seen a lot. Through the times, what have you come across that is, I guess you could say, like a challenge nowadays due to new trends, due to times changing, due to there's new opportunities that people are making money and bringing in money, claiming money in certain ways, trying to find ways to save money too. So what have you been seeing these days?
So as of late, we've been seeing a lot of people who are leaning into social media as their guidance or news or source of information. So people are not realizing that everything you see or on IG, every solution might not apply to you. So it might sound great, that you can save $30,000 on your taxes or get a $30,000 refund. But if you're not even making $30,000, it's not really relatable to you. And so people see things and then they'll do it. They'll put it in their taxes or they'll claim a credit or something like that. And then it gets rejected or denied. And then they end up owing money or bad situations. But just, kind of like the influencer mentality is getting people into trouble.
And honestly, so many people, I've heard it firsthand. Like I've seen it firsthand where they're like, I'll never get caught. I'll never get caught. There's just so many people. There's no way they're going to find this. And they do. Like
they absolutely do. And the
they don't play.
And fines are not worth it. And, I feel like with taxes, especially a lot of times people are only thinking short term. Like, for example, people will say, or want to write off as much money as possible at the end of the year so that they don't owe money on their taxes, or they want to bring down their income, or they don't claim cash. They have like $10,000 in cash and they don't claim it, etc., because they don't want to pay taxes in that moment. But then they're not thinking like, okay, when I go to buy a house or when I need a business line of credit, if it's showing I never make any money, why would lenders or anyone want to invest in me if I'm not making anything? So, it's a challenge. It's a challenge because everyone's tax situation is different. Well, we have our side hustles, we have real estate, we have investments, we have all these different moving parts. So it's hard to look at someone and compare yourself to them apples to apples because we're all, different moving parts.
There's this one reel that I saw. This guy had to put like crazy amount of spend behind this sponsored post, but he was showing how he went on vacation and he wrote off everything everything he wrote off, and he flew first class. And so can you talk about that? Like, what is the silver lining? Is there truth to that? Is there, can you speak on that?
Yeah. So there's truth to that. There is truth to that in the sense of, if that's what he does normally for his business, if that's an ordinary and necessary business practice to fly out all your clients or whatever, if that's something you always normally do, then, your likelihood of the IRS riding with you on that is probably higher. Now, if you're someone who owns a hot dog cart, and you decide that you're going to take you and 10 of your friends on vacation in Aruba, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't match your business profile. Like, maybe if you took them all to a hot dog convention, just kidding. It needs to align with your business. And a lot of people out here aren't operating a business where it makes sense to claim that type of expense or deduction. Not to say that retreats don't happen. Retreats do happen. Some companies have retreats. You can take all your employees or your clients or et cetera. But when you do something like that, you also need to be able to justify it. Like if you come and get audited, I'm always thinking with the audit mentality. But if you come and get audited, do you have proof that you held business meetings? Do you have minutes from those meetings? Do you know what I mean? Like you always want to be able to back up what you're claiming and in order to justify it.
That's very smart to know. So for those people that are client facing, right? They have a business a service or selling products, but maybe they are out promoting the brand and they have to represent the brand. They want, get their nails done, their hair done. What does that qualify as? Is that a write-off or not?
So it's interesting. And that's where, it's interesting because those type of conversations weren't originally around when tax law was created. And that's why we have tax court, because sometimes things will go to tax court and you might be able to plead your case of why you needed a $300 sweatsuit to be at an event or something like that. But, like a distinguished person might be able to get away with that better than somebody who, doesn't have a career that would support the need for you to, go out and do that. So I feel like a lot of things are, I'm losing the word that I want to say, subjective.
Okay.
To your situation. And what I was trying to say earlier is this is where you really having like a good tax preparer is key, because that tax preparer needs to be a relationship, needs to get to know you, needs to be working with you year round, someone that you can fall back on and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. How does this look for me? Do you think it would be beneficial tax wise? Or they could be proactive and let you know those opportunities too. But not everything works for everybody. I feel like I'm going to tie back to that
That's
again,
so
because, we in one of my tax circles where we share knowledge and information and support each other, we were talking about how someone was able to get a large like watch expense accepted in an audit as an expense. Whereas that was a big win, but it might not work for everybody.
I understand. That makes sense. So does everything get reviewed by a human?
It's a good question. I want to say yes.
That's wild. That's so wild. I mean, I want to say like they look at things very meticulously, but I'm sure there's high end software too
I was just
that
gonna
has
say,
keywords and stuff that
exactly.
flags.
Like there has to be. I'm sure there's someone out here who knows, who's worked at the IRS, or who knows. But like in the age of AI, I'm sure they're behind the scenes somewhere, if they're not already, thinking of some AI generated software that's scanning for certain key algorithms. Or
so if you thought before you could get away, hell no, not like not like that shouldn't even be a speck of an idea. Yeah, seriously.
There's enough stories of not getting away.
Yes, I have seen things go down firsthand, like just sitting front row. I was like, whoa. But I will ask, like, so what are some questions that folks out there should be asking to see if the person they're kind of thinking of approaching to do their business accounting, like what are some questions that are important to ask somebody that you're scoping to do to like rely on, like entrust your business and all of your numbers and finances with?
Good question. So you want to make sure that your, like, whether it's your business type or niche or industry, aligns with the experience of your tax preparer. There's a myriad of things that people can do. Some are better with crypto, some are better with real estate, some are better with cannabis, some are, experienced in different areas. And so you would generally want someone who knows your industry in and out so that they can, be the top expert in that situation.
Yeah.
Something else that's very key to think about is your relationship with your tax preparer. Some people have a tax preparer that they drop off their paperwork and they never have a conversation until it's all over. And then the tax preparer comes and says, this is how much you owe, or this is how much you're getting back. And here's my bill. See you next year. That doesn't really work for everybody. And it doesn't seem to be working, especially nowadays when people have their own business. Back in the day when maybe it was just like W-2 and it's, the necessity for a conversation was kind of minimal. But nowadays people they have investments, or, they sold stock this year, or they did Uber for the first time and they've never done it before. So that's a reason to have a tax preparer that you can have a relationship with, that asks you the important questions, that has conversations with you throughout the year, so that, you can be actively making decisions. Because once January comes and you hand over all your paperwork, it's a little late.
Yeah.
We can't go back and have you
This is true. This is true. But on the flip side too, because you've actually helped us out, because that's how we first started working with you, is because my partner is longtime accountant. She failed to see something very huge in our life, which, was Jaden. So, just a tad, oversight. But like you really went above and beyond and helped us to get that amended. And now that was more of a personal thing. But like, can you talk about that? Because I know just taxes, first of all, and finances, the whole conversation is so nerve-wracking to talk to people about.
It is.
Or just to have that conversation in general. Then also very intimidating for folks that are just starting out, that they're struggling to make finances meet and come through to begin with. So having this conversation makes it even harder, more even daunting, you know?
It definitely does.
But there's having that situation, like working with you, was so relieving, because my heart dropped when I was like, what do you mean we don't have, you know, like, oh my God. And all I thought was like, holy cow, what are we going to have to pay back the IRS? Like, what are we going to have to pay? So that's on the personal note. Obviously, there's situations in the business world too. So
definitely.
Yeah. Can you talk about how it's not as scary when you're working with the right people, and what options are there out there to help you?
Absolutely. No, like that is really the biggest point. Is and then, you know, I work with a lot of people who have had tax preparers make errors or mistakes, and they don't let them know. You know, like they find out, you know, you find out on your own when something's happening, and you're like, oh my gosh. And it's usually in a moment of panic,
and far too late.
Exactly. But, you know, a lot of times, depending on how late,
your
tax preparer might be able to remedy the situation for you. But like you said, it's really important to have that relationship. You have to, I put it in all my contracts. Like, you have to take what I say with a grain of salt. I might say something that you don't like. I might tell you, you cannot buy that Tesla. I might say whatever I have to say, but I'm saying it from a, you know, like because I'm looking out for your best interest. And so just, you know, I literally put it in writing that there may be days that you don't like what I say, but that is why you hired me. And so I will say it nicely, but I'm still going to say what I have to say. And so, like you were asking, like, you have to have that relationship. And, you know, you don't always get that. I was about to take some shots, but I'll be you just don't always get that.
Pew, pew.
Out there.
Well, let me just tell you, this individual, when I tried to call them back to be like, hey, what's up? That individual went MIA.
But you know what? Honestly, I've seen it so many times, Vane. It's not even, I wish I could say that was a, you know, random situation, but I see it all the time. And it's kind of, you know, disappointing.
It is.
Because, so I'm an enrolled agent, and also with, like, if you have a CPA prepare your returns, we have to sign, you know, a disclosure saying that we're going to be truthful and honest and all these things when we're preparing your returns. Now, if you have somebody, now keep in mind, in case the listeners do not know, you don't have to be an enrolled agent like myself or a CPA to prepare taxes. Like, someone can just go out and, depending on the state they're in, meet those requirements and get a tax P10, what's called a P, and prepare people's taxes. But you have no idea, like, where, you know, where they got their information from, or if they've even been to school. I know people that have had no formal tax education or training, and they'll buy one of these softwares that you can buy in Costco or whatever, and charge people to do their returns every year. And, you know, they don't know what they're doing. I saved a lot of returns that came to me the following year where they're like, I don't know what this is. And they never claimed depreciation, or they didn't know what an S corp really was, or like all the different things. But that's why you got to vet out your person.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So is that how, like, well, everything is different, right? But every state and city is different. But during tax season, there's a lot of little pop-up joints that are all of a sudden accounting services. And
yep.
Yeah.
What's funny to me is a lot of times those little pop-up places come to real places like us to do their own taxes, because they don't even know what they're doing.
Wow.
I don't know if I can say this. Well, I'm not saying names. I'll just say I've had situations where people who own that type of business are audited because they weren't filing their taxes right. Like,
oh my God, the irony of that. Oh my God.
know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Ask questions. The moral of the story is ask questions.
Yes, exactly.
Ask
It
questions.
is. Yeah. And ask for, some sort of credential. Is nothing wrong with you finding someone who is qualified to do the work. Like myself, I will toot my own horn because that's why I'm here. No, okay.
As you should.
But
new author on that resume.
Thank you.
We gonna talk about that.
Okay, cool. So, but I'm an enrolled agent, and when I do your taxes, I have my licensing through by the Department of Treasury. I can represent you before the IRS. So, like, let's say I prepare your return and you get audited, I can literally back it up and say, this is why this was done. I can be that person. Like you just said, when these people out here make these mistakes, they don't come to you and say, don't worry, I got it. I'll represent it. I know what to say. I know who to call. They ghost you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And then there's angels like you to come through and help.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy because you don't want that to be the situation where you're like saving people, but sometimes they need to be saved. And honestly, like you said earlier, talking about people with like money and finances, it's very difficult, especially to do it with a stranger. But it's kind of hard to do it with people you're close to. In any way, like it's just a tough conversation, and it's what's the word? Intimidating. It's intimidating, especially when people don't know a lot about it. So we're talking about something that's really personal to them, and then it's in a subject matter that they're not really like experienced in. So the whole thing can just be like, off-putting. And so people might not be forthcoming with the tax preparer that they have to. I've seen that situation too, where it's just not a match. Like they're just not ready to share all of their information, and then it doesn't work out to their benefit because then it's too late. Like I've had people tell me things way too late.
Yeah.
Like, by the way, I also have that rental property down in Jersey. What? Like you didn't see that when we asked? Okay.
Yeah, you forgot about that?
Yes. And honestly, that's what prompted me to put it in my little, like in my contracts where you have to take me with a grain of salt. Right before that, it also said that you need to tell me everything. Like I'm not here to judge. I really don't care. But I just need to know so that I can do my job good.
Yeah, I can attest to that because you've said it to me. Like, I'm sorry for asking all these questions, but I just got to know. I was like, hell yeah, ask away. Ask away. There's a lot of unknown out there. And as long as we keep talking and having conversations and asking those questions that we feel that are stupid, that really aren't, that probably a lot of more people are thinking as well and wondering too, I feel like that'll just help us out. One of my personal goals is to become more financially literate.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to have you on more and more.
I would love to
so
be
that you can
here.
keep on educating.
Yes.
Because
and that's a great idea because tax laws are always changing. Like what we're about to go through a period where some laws will be phased out. We don't know what will come in with the new administration. So it's a continuous learning process. You want to have a person who is dedicated to continuously learning. Like, what's coming up new. I live in a webinar. Like I cannot absorb enough information because that's how I do my best job. My business is accounting. Whoever you are, wherever you are out there in the world, your business, unless you're my colleague, is not accounting. So you shouldn't expect to spend your days trying to figure out what's the newest tax law and what's this and how can it benefit me. That's why you hire a professional. You guys need to be out there figuring out like what clothing or whatever your business is, all of that fancy stuff that I have no idea what to do.
It's a whole other position. It's a whole nother job role, like what you do.
Yeah, but people, and especially as new business owners, they take it for granted. They really and I understand it. I was there in the beginning of my business when I'm wondering, who do I have to pay that person? Like, I'm trying to pay myself. Yeah. So, you gotta try and figure out what expenses are absolutely necessary. An accountant and a lawyer are always should be in your
Budget.
immediate budget.
I
Definitely.
agree. I agree. Coming
But
from
girlfriend, you know how many people hire their cousin or their auntie to do their books? There's a lot of them out there.
There's a lot of them. There is. Well, you know what? Everyone is really trying to make it work with what they got, right? A lot, and that's a lot of entrepreneurs too. A lot of folks that are starting off and just founders of startups that's one thing is getting scrappy and trying to do the best that they can with what they got. And with having said that, as we know, times have been very difficult. A lot of businesses that have been around for many years have closed down. Just the way of consumer behavior has changed in terms of shopping. What would you say, Rhett, would be one piece of advice that you would give a small business owner who's struggling to get their finances in order?
I would. Okay. 3 key things. 1, set your policies and procedures. You don't have to have a lot of money to do it, but you can, make your plan. Okay, on the 15th of every month, I'm going to go back and do all of my bookkeeping. I'm going to organize my et cetera and get all my expenses in order. On the 30th of every month, I'm going to go make sure I have my mileage from all of my transactions. Just have a some sort of accounting policy and procedure so that you're making it, you're prioritizing the task, but not making it overwhelming. A lot of times they might try to, first of all, a lot of times they wait till the end of the year to do it. Okay. And I don't recommend that. I definitely recommend at minimum you keep up with your books every month.
I hide.
But I don't. Listen, everyone else out there is hiding too. Okay? You guys can't hide from me. I know what it is. I know. But you want to your little schedule, okay, and even if you just do it once a month. Now, disclaimer, some of your businesses might need it more than once a month. But I'm just generally speaking for those of you who come into the office with a contractor bag full of receipts. That's not the way. So set up your, and even if it's just saying, okay, I'm going to put in an Excel spreadsheet at the end of the month, how much I made, how much I spent, important things that would be good for your tax preparer, such as mileage. You guys never write down your mileage. Never. I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at you.
I got the receipts. That's baby steps. Grabbing all those damn receipts.
This is a no judgment on. We do not judge. Okay, you have to remember, I'm an entrepreneur too, so I might have thought I knew all the tax laws and all the tax things, and then I'm like, wait, what do I have to do? My biggest struggle as an entrepreneur was hiring employees. I was like, okay, I know what I need them to do, but wait, what?
Yeah.
So anyways, we all can learn. And so in the beginning, definitely at least, have the self-discipline to stay on top of it. And staying on top of it will allow you to use that information, even if you reach out to, so I think I'm an innovator in this category because I don't know a lot of my colleagues that do this, but I have the ability where you can just book managerial accounting session on my website. Go and I need an hour and you can go look at your financial, bring your numbers and say, okay, I made this much, I'm spending this much, I don't understand, what does this mean? And I can help you understand the data, and then you don't have to worry about paying a monthly expense for the bookkeeping because you're on top of it. And you can come as you are. You can come with an Excel spreadsheet. You can come with QuickBooks. You can come with whatever platform you like to use. And then, I try to ask people to bring at least 1 to 3 questions that you want to work through. and then you book the session, and then you can leave understanding your numbers a little bit better.
Do they need to be an existing client of yours, or can
They
it be?
do not.
What's your website? So folks that are interested in doing that, they can look you up.
Sure. It's AmoretteMason.com.
I will also, sidebar, include all of Amorette's contact information and the website that she just shared, that you can go ahead and book this session with her on the show notes. So all of that will be available. But that is awesome. That is super awesome. And can you do that throughout the year, different number of times?
Exactly. So I have customers that are seasonal, where it might not be relevant for them to do this type of thing in the summer or in the winter because they have an HVAC company and it's, only busy at X time of year or whatever. So that gives them the ability to book when they need. And sometimes they book 1 or 2 hours in a row and they just go through a whole myriad of things that they wanted to talk about. Or, they wait and then they book sessions for the end of the year. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Super convenient, Rhett. I love that.
Thanks. Thank you. Because, I feel like you have to meet people where they are. And not everyone is ready to have an accountant that is involved in their day-to-day and, running numbers. They might not be there yet. They might, baby steps, and they need to work with what they got. And we can help them wherever they are.
And to your point of what you're saying earlier, how crucial it is to have somebody that is your accountant or helps you with your books, maintain them and keep, up to par with all relations, and not following social media trends, not making big decisions on your business, baby.
Hey, listen.
Friends, no judgment, but when you got when you have you as an option where you could tap in when you need it and not have a monthly bill, right? An additional monthly bill, that is even more welcoming and more of a peace of mind for that small business owner.
Yeah, they do. They love it because some of them use the opportunity to optimize QuickBooks for themselves or whatever software they're using, because, they're at the point where they're using a software, where they're using QuickBooks, but they don't know how to make it work for them. Like, they want, I can help you figure out your homepage, teach you how to do things in there and make it most efficient for you. Get it set up on your phone. Are you taking pictures of receipts? Are you uploading this? Is your bank connected? So it's automatically feeding that information. So let's set up rules. If you're always going to Home Depot for paint or Sherwin-Williams for paint, let's set up a rule, save time so that when you get in there, it's not just an app that you have that's not really giving you anything. We need to make it work for you. We need to, if you want to know your cash flow when you log in, then that's what we're setting up your homepage as. So, we try to help. And a lot of people don't know what a lot of the things mean to know how to use it. Like, what is a liability? What's a long-term liability? Okay, I financed a machine. Where does that go? How do I allocate those payments each month? Like, it can get into the details, especially when you include payroll and no offense to your cousin or your auntie, but they don't know, they might, but generally speaking, they are not, even if I'll be nice to them for a minute, but even if they do know how to categorize correctly, your tax preparer will know what you really can claim on your taxes. Like, just because you took all of the office to see Usher.
Team bonding. Right? Team bonding, baby. That is
exactly. Maybe we should write that one up. No, I'm just kidding. Don't listen to people. But, not every business expense is a tax deductible expense. So,
yeah.
Right, that's where that conversation comes in.
Right. Thank you for sharing all of these goodies. One thing that I definitely want us to touch on, well, a couple of things. Two things that I definitely want us to touch on before we wrap this up, because this is super important and I'm super proud of you. I want you to share how we've added author to your title, baby girl. Can we let the world know?
I'm so excited. So I love math. I love taxes. And so I combined my passion of cannabis accounting and my just honor to be an enrolled agent. So I took my tax knowledge and my cannabis tax knowledge, and I was honored to be in the tax planning issue of the accountant's journal for this year.
That is awesome. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. So when I said earlier, you need to find a tax preparer that understands your industry, cannabis is definitely one where you do not want to hire somebody who is not versed in the details of cannabis tax law. And I say this with the caveat that by the time you hear this, it might even be different just because we are in the process of rescheduling this plant. Now, with that being said, cannabis is illegal federally. So the thing about cannabis is that there's not the same opportunities to take business deductions and credits like you would in an ordinary business. So you need to have a tax preparer that is well versed in how to do those taxes, because you have to tie everything back to cost of goods sold. And without getting too techie or nerdy, your tax preparer would know how to do that. Additionally, you want a tax preparer that works alongside with your accountant, if your accountant is not your tax preparer, because you're going to want to have your books explicitly match your tax return. You should do that in all your businesses anyways. Well, yeah. But especially in this industry where, it's a source of a lot of controversy. It's illegal still. It's just better to have all your ducks in a row, like a really, really tight row. And the IRS has said, because there are companies, cannabis companies out there that are willing to take risks. Some are big, lofty risks on their returns, but the IRS has stated that they don't care what you're really trying or what you want to do, that they're basically sticking to their guns and they're saying, we said what we said. This is how you prepare a return. So, but those people who are very risky, they have that type of relationship with their tax preparer who, they've collectively agreed, okay, we're going to take this shot. Might not make it, but we might. Hey, it could buy us some time. We could go argue it in tax court. This is all new. So if, some of these businesses are willing to take that risk.
Wow. Well, for all of those dispensaries out there, or if you're looking to get into that industry, I would highly recommend getting on a consultation call with Amorette. She is extremely knowledgeable in this area, obviously, as she just shared, but she stays on top of things too. So as she also shared how fast, and we all know how fast tax laws change, cannabis, their rules and regulations change crazy, double the time as fast, it sounds like, just because of how it's all played out, where it's legal here, legal not there. Then every little area county has their own rules and their own regulations, and it gets super tricky. So if you're looking into that, I highly recommend reaching out to Ms. Amorette. And
cannabis compliance.
There we go.
Call me.
So we can keep on talking forever.
I know,
forever.
But we do this.
I know. This is very normal. But I am super blessed to have been on this very long journey of life, 20 plus years together already. Can you deal? But as you reflect on your journey, Rhett, as you reflect on the different endeavors, the milestones, the ones that punched you in the gut and left you breathless, because the entrepreneur, the life of a small business owner does that. Right?
It would be strange if it didn't.
What legacy do you feel or do you hope to leave behind?
Just hit me with the hard one at the end. Okay. So, I don't know. I don't know if I have a really overwhelming answer. I just want to educate people and leave them better and pour into. I don't know. I just like to bring joy.
You help so many people. You don't even think about yourself. You're just right there, and you will do whatever it takes to make things happen for your loved ones, for your clients.
Thank you.
I've seen it firsthand.
I do. I really do. I love it so much. And right now I have a partnership with the city of Philadelphia to provide tax services through a program. And we really, like, it just gives me the opportunity to touch so many more people and help businesses thrive. You know how good it feels to like help someone else up and help them understand something that they didn't before and might have been holding them back. I've had people cry.
Yes, I've been one of those. There too. I checked that box off too.
It's just such a good feeling to be able to help someone, and I enjoy doing that every day. So I love what I do.
It's literally the gas to refill our tank to keep going. When you walk away knowing that you've made a difference in someone's life in a very positive way, it's priceless. It's way better than what you ever thought you can get from the in the beginning.
Agreed.
And you do that all the time. You do that all the time.
We're all here on this earth to do something, and I want to do good with whatever I'm here for. So
thank you, Red. I've loved chatting with you. We're going to have to get you back on to talk about. There's a lot more to talk about. I mean, there's so many things to talk about. But for now, while we have all the listeners, and if you liked what you heard, if you were able to gain some knowledge, some inspiration, if you feel like hearing this episode would help someone else, please share that, because that is what we're here to do, is help share information, provide knowledge, inspiration, motivation, have questions. If you're looking to start your business, if you are a small business owner that is going through some hard times and you just like to have a strategy session on how to level up your finances, no matter what stage in the game you're at, I recommend Amorette. I say that because, like I said, I use her personally, and I've seen this woman do incredible things throughout her journey. So, without a doubt, I would always recommend Amorette. All of her contact information will be in the show notes. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe. You can find us where you listen to all of your favorite podcasts. Please rate us, share us. Until next time, mi gente, thank you so much. Bye. Before you go, let's keep the conversation going. If today's episode resonated with you, then share it on your stories and tag me. I love seeing how these conversations land with you. And if you're ready for more, I welcome you to join my newsletter community, where I share exclusive insights, mindset shifts, and tools to help you grow not just your mindset, but small biz too. All the details are in the show notes. This is Vanessa Betances signing off. Keep building, keep believing, and keep showing up for your dreams, mi gente. Ciao.